Well, I'm Chris, and this is my Datsun L28 engine reassembly video. So it's November 12th, 2022 out here in Houston, Texas. Cold front came in last night, 50 degrees out here. It is beautiful. I love this weather so much. So the head gasket was super easy to clean on this iron block. We're cleaning up the pistons and bores. Let's do the last two. It's just oily. I don't know what the hell this is. And these flat tops, they poke above the deck just a little bit. You can feel it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the old oil pump back in, but we need to take this thing apart and see if there's anything weird going on or any gunk in there. It's just two 10mm bolts. What the heck? Got this loose. This is just the spring that regulates the pressure in there. So it does have gunk in there. Look, it's like sand and trash. I did not sandblast this in any way. This was in a completely different area, not even close to this. There was definitely trash in there, but nothing that I'm seeing that would explain why it was getting tight. Let me check this thing out and clean it up. So on this particular engine, when the piston's at top dead center, the highest point, the keyway is gonna be pointing straight up at 12 o'clock or 0 degrees. And watch, if we spin it, one revolution, and we're coming right back up to the keyway at 0 degrees and the highest point of the piston. Notice it go. It's gonna go just above that deck, just a little bit. So when there's no cam in the engine, we only have one top dead center, and that's right here, number one, at its highest point. On this L28, the keyway keeper is at 12 o'clock or 0 degrees. So then I just give it a squirt of oil in there. Just kind of give everything a coat in oil. So you're gonna have these big dowel pins or alignment pins, and one on the front of the block right here. You have to have that on there. Check it out. Just make sure everything feels right. So lift it up, make sure all the holes are there. Our critical hole is the oil to the top of the head. All that looks good. Just one last quick visual inspection. Make sure there's nothing in the way. I have that copper spray, but this head gasket's pretty thick, so I'm not gonna use it. So I loosened the cam in stages and pulled it all off. That's not how you're supposed to do that. So we're gonna transfer those pieces to the head. I never bolted the head down, but as you can see, I had to come back off. I sort of screwed up. So in the book it says do not take these cam towers off because it's line bored. I took the cam off because I didn't think there was any space right there to get the spring compressor in there, and I couldn't get any of the rocker arms out in the first place. So if you took yours off like mine, go ahead and put it back on and retorque all these. It says 10 to 12 foot-pounds, and hopefully you'll be able to turn your cam. If it feels like it has a tight spot in it, pull it out to the side and oil it up really good. I'm just saying that because this one had a tight spot, and as soon as I put that oil on there, the tight spot went away. Feels good, feels perfectly fine. So we have the cam in there, it's oiled up. We can spin it with our fingers. Let's go ahead and put that plate on there. So your little cam hold down, it's got that little dot right there. Make sure that dot is towards the top. So we used this earlier to compress a spring. You can actually back off the adjustment. This just needs to go down maybe a 1/4 inch, if that. Okay, watch it just go down just a little bit, just that. That's all. That's all it needs. So when you're putting your lifter and guide in, make sure the cam lobe, just go ahead and point it to the top away. We're gonna show this side, then we're gonna show the other side. Make sure you get some oil in there on the ball stud, right there, right there. Don't worry about the spring right now. Get your little guide ready. Hook it on the ball stud. See, it's hovering in place. And just that little 1/4 inch is gonna give it enough room to slide the guide in. Okay. Release it. Good. It's done. Oh no. There we go. So that's as close as I can get. The spring is not going to hook right there. It's going to hook up there. There you go. So we did the exhaust. We're about to do the intake. Make sure that the cam lobe right there is facing away. So 17 is for the lock, 14 is to raise this. We have them at their lowest position and they're all going to need to be adjusted. It's very inconvenient to have to go back and do this. Let me go ahead and get them done. Okay, we're just rotating the cam back to number 1 pointing up, just like that. 1 is right there. Okay, so the head bolts and the 4 plugs in the center are 10mm hex head. The 4 in the center go straight to the water jackets. So the head bolts are different lengths. I just marked them. So we're gonna have to wire wheel all of these and anti-seize them. They just put some type of anti-seize on there. Get a wire wheel thing, put in the bolt like that. So go ahead and put it at the end of the bolt. Let's check that 3/4 to 1/2 inch. There we go, beautiful. So on this head, it has 4 plugs like this going into the water jackets. Right there, I wasn't supposed to take them out, but if you do take them out, I'm gonna put a non-hardening sealant on here. You can put whatever you want, just let you know what I'm putting on there. That's just what I'm using, use what you want. Okay, this is where it's gonna drop and not go in the right place. God, oh, it went in the right place. Nice. I'm just gonna torque them to like 75 or 80 by hand. So I put anti-seize on every single head bolt. I don't think they go into the water, they go into the exhaust, which is just as bad. So whenever you tighten this head down, you're gonna go from the center out. You're gonna go in stages like 20 foot-pounds, 40 foot-pounds, 60 foot-pounds. I haven't looked at the specs yet. We're just gonna do the first stage real quick. So this is in inch-pounds. I'm just doing the first stage like 5 pounds. I go real slow. Gonna sandblast and clean all this stuff up for the engine, even the oil pump. Somebody out there saying you can't sandblast an oil pump. Doing it right now. Some parts need to go straight to primer, like this oil pump. It's gonna start flash rusting. So dipstick is restored, looking good. So that's that microguard filter that came with the engine. I'm gonna put this cool sticker on it. Okay, I've already wiped this down with denatured alcohol. I don't know what this means, but it looks kind of cool. So I made a video on the timing. If you're having trouble with that, go check it out. So I torqued the head, it's at 50 foot-pounds. There's a guy that did some videos like this a few years, and every time he gets to a very important thing, he leaves it out of the video. It's so annoying. Let's take a look right here. The oil gets sucked out of the pan from right here, gets pumped into the engine right there, and then oil is gonna come out right here to feed the tensioner. This is gonna put oil pressure on your chain. So if you're having low oil pressure issues with your car, you might want to look into this guy. Maybe it's blown out, maybe the chain's super loose, I don't know, but oil pressure comes out of there and feeds this right here to put tension on your chain. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put oil in there. Oh no, we're out of oil. Just a bunch of oil in there, just like that. So we're gonna get 1 bolt ready at the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and get the bolt started in the bottom. See it squirting? There you go. Go ahead and put oil all up in there. So this is a thread chaser right here. Get WD-40. Every single hole gets chased out and cleaned 100%. So we'll show a little more of this on the timing cover, but every single thread is 100% cleaned and free. We're ready to put the timing cover on there, and you notice the gasket's not torqued right here. Timing cover gaskets can be a little weird. You're going to put it on the dowel pin or alignment pin first, and you're going to notice that it kind of seems too long. Don't mess with that. Just let it squish itself in place and be done with it. This timing cover can be very difficult to put on, so clean your little dowel pins if you painted them, or just to be on the safe side. So timing cover's ready. We got one left right here. It looks perfectly fine, right? It doesn't look screwed up or dirty. Let's check this out. Okay, you can use oil or WD-40, lubricate it. It's actually getting too tight by hand. Look at all that crap. That's why you chase all your threads. Don't ever in a million years chase your threads with this right here. Now, I did have to go back and clean and fix a hole, get a chaser. So we have some 400 grit sandpaper. If you paint it over any surface, we need to lightly sand it off. Look at all that crap. Now we're gonna get a piece right here. We're gonna roll it. We're gonna roll it like a little joint. So those little dowel pins, if you paint it over that, it's gonna make it super tight and super difficult. So go ahead and clean those holes out. Brand new front seal. Make sure it has that little spring in there. Hopefully it's not gonna just push right in. I'll clean that surface real good. You're gonna take your sealant of choice. I just put a tiny thin layer because I do not want this thing leaking. I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil up in this. I don't think there's a position. It's dripping on me. You can use a board, whatever. I'm just gonna tap it out. Give it some more oil. You're gonna put it on the inside too. Very, very important to do this. I didn't mess with any of this stuff, and make sure you have the distributor drive gear and it's down and right like that. A little splash shield, keys in there. This shaft has to be perfectly clean and smooth. So obviously you're gonna watch videos and do this the way you wanna do it. I'm just gonna show you how. I'm gonna use a little bit of this non-hardening stuff just to kind of stick it right here and hold it. It's like right there. And I mean, you might want to go ahead and put some up in that corner right there. Okay, remember on your little dowel pin first. Okay, then match the bolts up. Remember on this one, we're just going to kind of stuff it in there like that. Stuff it. There you go. This one's kind of tricky because we have the head bolt and this way. So it's got to go two ways. I'm going to push it up as high as it'll go. And then we're going to push forward, locating those dowel pins right there. Got the bottom one hooked. We cleaned everything up real good, so it should just kind of bop in there. See, it is. Be gentle. I would start with these two at the top. They're 12 millimeter, and try to snug them up and push this to the block first. So when I took this timing cover off, I put every single bolt in order, so now we know exactly where they are. Because look at that, they're all different. When you chase all the threads, look at that. Every single bolt can be put in by hand. So I decided to put these two little ones in there because we're gonna go back and forth. Now we're gonna snug these two little ones up just a little bit. Snug these up just a little bit. So you see how that stuff's squished out just a little bit? The other side squished out just a little bit. Looking good. So if you painted your pulley, you need to clean the inside and back here. Just 400 grit sandpaper. Get all that out of there. Okay, all that paint has to be off. Oil it up. You want plenty of oil on that seal. You do not want to put that in there dry. Oh, there it goes. Get it started on that key. You're gonna have to push it till the bolt can start. There we go. So the chasers also come in this form in case you have a stud. Alternator bracket. All right, so let's put the oil pump back together. Super simple. So this piece right here, you're gonna put the diamond down, shaft here, diamond down. It can only go down on this one. So this is machined so tight fitting, so in fact if there was some gunk and crap in here, it would in fact make this thing spin tight or slow. I have no idea exactly what the problem was. We did find like sand and trash in it, but that's all there is to this oil pump. That's it. So you're checking for play in it. All this is super duper tight. It is completely flat with the surface. And so the shaft is hollow and gets filled with oil at the top too, and it was riding right there. So it's riding in there like that, touching the top. So you're gonna make sure it's not gouged in there. Everything looks perfect. This oil pump looks brand new. So if you took your oil pump apart like this, they don't sell this gasket, only the one that mounts it to the engine or timing cover. And if they do, please let me know, because I really didn't search for it. So then this piece just sticks in there with the spring. That's going to regulate your pressure. That's tight. So that thing should be moving a lot freer than that. Let me inspect this a little bit. So I'm just cleaning it all out in there. Let's try again. Okay, it's good now. Okay, you want to oil all this crap up. Okay, they don't sell this gasket either. It was broke. I'll put some stuff on it if it leaks. That just goes in there like that. Oil this stuff up really good. Diamond down. Make sure it's all covered in oil, 100%. Okay, so I'm gonna have to rig this one up. So the gasket that was on here was super duper thin, like a piece of paper. So I'm just gonna squirt some of this around. Hopefully it'll work. Somebody out there is like, man, I really liked your videos until I seen that shit. That ain't gonna work, buddy. Well, I don't know. It's only until I can find a gasket. All right, then there's opposing 10mm screws. So I'm installing the oil pump with no drive gear because I want to prime this engine and make sure everything's good. So I swear I've just been working all day. I don't even know what time it is. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right, so I'll go on call tomorrow for work, so I need to get all this stuff cleaned up. So the reassembly was focusing on the main stuff and tricky stuff, like the head. That was a little tricky, and the timing cover is very critical how you put it in there. We haven't even looked at the other side. Looks the same. This feels like assembling a brand new engine, like it's all brand new parts. To be honest with you, I've only spent a little over $100 on this whole project. We had to buy that special tool right there, some paint, gasket set. And you would think that I've spent thousands of dollars on this, or hundreds, I don't know. But that's what happens whenever you take the time and clean everything. I've been doing this stuff for 20 years. Of course, now I do it a lot better. And you learn stuff like changing the colors up just a little bit to make it look more interesting. That was a joke, but I actually think that's really cool. And I hope I started something. And you can see we have the oil pan and the bolts. All this is ready. We'll do that in the next video. I may end up spraying this one in the cast color if I can find it in that brand, but I swear I can't find it. So I'm definitely going to wide body this car. You can see I already bought a test wheel. So that is a 15x10. I'm going to be doing a video explaining the wheels and tire situation. That is the big brick wall when you're doing a wide body on these cars, is your limited selection of wheels. So if you go into the forums looking for information on these wheels and wide bodies, you're going to come across some of the biggest dumbasses on the internet. Don't know anything about cars. They don't have any business talking about it. So this wheel is about $100. It came from Speedway Motors. And it's the correct bolt pattern. It's a 15-inch, 10-inch wide with 4 inches of back spacing. And you can see it appears that it has plenty of room in there. It's the correct 4 by 4.5 inch bolt pattern, and notice we do not have a spacer on there. So looking at this right here, it looks like the 10-inch wheel may be all you need, and it looks like that wheel is going to work out perfect. So for some reason they discontinued this wheel, but this is the style I'm going to buy. They're going to come in silver, I think, but I'm going to paint them flat black. That's gloss. It kind of looks cheesy, but Bassett and Arrow, if you're messing with one of these Z cars, they sell them with the bolt pattern. You can see it right here, and that wheel was only $100. So the wheels are going to cost $400 or $500. The problem you're going to have is getting the low profile 15-inch tires. Those things are going to be $360 to $400 a piece. So that's your problem. That's why I only bought one test wheel, and we have to figure the wheels and tires out before we cut and it's a green light to wide body this car. Okay, and that's why every Rocket Bunny Z kart you see on the internet is like a show car, because only rich people have them. And every single one of those clean ones you see on the internet is running at least $3,000 minimum for wheels and tires. All right, so just want to show you what I've done on the engine today. Next video, not exactly sure, but we're going to be getting this thing put together a little bit more. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.